I just can't focus. I have all this work to do, but these constant notifications and the urge to check social media keep pulling my attention away.
Stay still for a moment. Notice the quiet before the thought. You have felt it, that drifting mind, pulling away when you ask it to stay. You try to focus, and it slips, not because you are weak, not because you are broken, but because no one showed you how to protect your attention. This is not a flaw in you. This is a signal. There is a hidden cost to losing focus. Dreams slow down. Confidence thins. Days pass without direction. You sense it, even when you cannot name it. Breathe. You are not behind. You are here. Listen closely now. This moment matters. This moment draws a line between who you were and who you choose to become. Say it quietly, I am ready. Feel it rise in you, I rise. Today is different. Your attention returns to you. This is the moment. Everything changes for you now. Chapter 1. Why your mind feels scattered. Pause. Not to escape, not to stop life, but to notice what has been happening inside you. Your mind feels scattered not because it is weak, not because you lack discipline, but because your attention has been pulled in too many directions for too long. Slowly, quietly, without permission. You did not lose focus. It was fragmented, split into pieces, stretched thin across demands, noise, and constant motion. Notice this without judgment. Awareness is power. There was a time when your attention moved with intention, one thought at a time, one decision leading clearly to the next. Now it feels different. Your focus starts strong, then fades. Your mind jumps ahead, pulls backward, scatters sideways, not all at once. Gradually, like a blade dulled by constant friction, not broken, just worn down by endless contact. Pause again. Feel that truth land. This is not who you are. This is what happened to you. Your attention has been trained to respond instead of lead, to react instead of choose. And every time it is pulled away, a small part of your energy goes with it, not lost forever, just misplaced, waiting to be reclaimed. You sense the cost even if you have never named it. Tasks take longer. Decisions feel heavier. Confidence hesitates where it used to stand firm. The mind feels busy, yet nothing truly moves forward. That tension you feel is not failure. It is potential asking for direction. Notice the conflict now beginning to rise. There is the version of you that drifts, that scrolls, that starts and stops, that feels busy but unfulfilled. That version is not weak. It is simply unguarded. And then there is another version of quieter, stronger, watching, aware. The part of you that knows when something is off. The part that notices the moment focus slips. The part that chose to be here right now. That is the real you. This chapter is not about blame. It is about clarity. When you understand why your mind feels scattered, you stop fighting yourself. You stop forcing. You start leading. Notice how attention works. It follows what calls the loudest, not what matters most. When everything asks for you at once, your focus fractures, like a signal lost in noise, still transmitting, still powerful, just overwhelmed by interference. Pause. Notice. Your mind has been living in interruption. Small pulls, constant shifts, each one tiny on its own, together exhausting. Over time, the brain adapts. It learns to skim instead of stay, to touch and go, to move before depth has time to form. This is not damage. This is conditioning. And conditioning can be changed. Feel the relief in that truth. You do not need more motivation. You do not need to push harder. You need to see clearly what has been dividing your attention so you can bring it back into alignment. Awareness is power. Every moment you notice distraction, you regain control. Not by force, by presence. Not by anger, by leadership. Notice how often your mind leaves the present moment. Not to criticize, to understand. Because understanding is the beginning of mastery. This is where the shift begins. The old pattern says react first, decide later. The new pattern says pause, then choose. Say it quietly now. Pause. Feel the space that creates. Even a second of space changes everything. In that space, you are no longer pulled. You are positioned. This is not who you are. You are becoming someone who notices. Notice how that feels different already. Stronger, calmer, more grounded. This is not intensity yet. This is stability, and stability comes before power. Your scattered mind has been asking for structure, not punishment. Direction, not pressure. Leadership, not noise. And leadership always begins within. Notice how focus returns when you stop chasing, when you stop telling yourself something is wrong, when you stand still long enough to see clearly. This chapter is planting a seed, not of action yet, but of awareness, because every great change starts with seeing the truth without flinching. You are not broken. You are waking up. The mind you thought you lost has been waiting for you to lead it again. And now you are learning how. See, notice, breathe. This awareness you are building will carry you forward. It will sharpen what has been dulled. It will cut through noise. It will restore signal. You are stepping out of fragmentation and into intention. Slowly, powerfully, on purpose. And as this awareness deepens, something begins to shift beneath the surface. A readiness, a quiet strength forming. Because once you see clearly, you cannot unsee. And the next step will ask more of you. Chapter 2. The invisible enemy stealing your attention. There is an enemy you cannot see. It does not shout. It does not attack. It trains you quietly. Your attention was not taken by accident. It was shaped, conditioned, redirected over time. Notice this calmly, without resistance, without blame. Distraction is trained, not accidental. Every small habit taught your mind to move before it could settle. Every quick shift taught it that staying was unnecessary. Every moment of constant stimulation whispered the same message again and again. Move on. Look elsewhere. Do not stay too long. And slowly your mind learned. Not because you failed, because repetition works. Stop reacting. Feel that command land. Not harsh, not angry, clear. You have been responding automatically to every pull, every signal, every internal nudge to check, switch, and scan. Reaction became normal. Stillness felt unfamiliar. That is not weakness. That is training. Your mind learned to crave stimulation the way a muscle learns a movement. Over time, it began to expect constant input. Silence felt empty. Stillness felt uncomfortable. Focus felt heavy, not because it was wrong, but because it was no longer familiar. Notice this. The invisible enemy does not steal by force. It distracts by invitation. It offers something small, something immediate, and each time you accept, the habit strengthens, not in one dramatic moment, in thousands of quiet repetitions. This is how focus is rewired. Short attention becomes normal, depth becomes effort, silence becomes rare. And yet beneath all of it, your deeper self knows something is missing, not stimulation, strength, presence, direction. Stop reacting. There is power in that pause. Delayed gratification is not denial. It is leadership. It is the ability to choose what matters over what is immediate. And that ability has been weakened, not erased. Feel the tension build now, not fear, awareness. Your mind has been living in constant motion, jumping, skimming, touching everything, staying nowhere. It learned speed without depth, activity without progress. And over time, that creates noise inside, loud thoughts, restless energy, a feeling of being busy but not fulfilled. This is not your identity. This is a pattern. Patterns can be interrupted. Choose stillness. Stillness is not doing nothing. It is doing one thing fully. It is strength held inward. It is silence that sharpens instead of dulls, like a blade finally given space to cool, to reset, to regain its edge. Silence is not empty. Silence is strength. The invisible enemy fears silence because silence removes its access. In stillness, there is no reaction to exploit, no impulse to trigger, no urgency to hijack. Stop reacting. Choose stillness. Let repetition work for you now. Every time you pause instead of react, you retrain your mind. Every time you delay instead of indulge, you reclaim authority. Every time you sit with focus instead of escaping discomfort, you rebuild capacity. This is how power returns, quietly, consistently. Notice the shift beginning already. Not dramatic, subtle. A sense of control returning, a steadiness forming. This is not motivation. This is conditioning in reverse. The old habit says respond immediately. The new discipline says wait. Waiting is not weakness. Waiting is command. You decide who you become. Say it now. I decide who I become. Feel how different that feels from reaction. Reaction gives control away. Decision takes it back. Your attention is not fragile. It is valuable. That is why it has been targeted. That is why it has been trained away from depth. Anything valuable attracts pressure. Anything powerful must be protected. And now you are learning how. Stillness will feel uncomfortable at first. That is a sign of growth, not failure. Muscles ache when they are strengthening. Focus resists when it is being rebuilt. Stay. Do not rush past this moment. The invisible enemy thrives on movement without meaning. You are choosing intention. That choice alone shifts everything. Stop reacting. Choose stillness. Each repetition strengthens. Each moment of restraint builds leadership. You are no longer chasing stimulation. You are selecting purpose. Delayed gratification is becoming your advantage. While others scatter their energy, you collect yours. While others move fast, you move deep. While others react, you decide. Silence becomes your training ground. Focus becomes your discipline. Awareness becomes your edge. This is not about cutting the world out. It is about letting the right things in, on your terms, in your time, with your full presence. You are not fighting distraction anymore. You are outgrowing it. Feel the confidence that brings. Quiet, steady, real. You decide who you become. And with each moment of stillness, that decision grows stronger, preparing you for what comes next. Chapter 3. Focus is not willpower. Take a breath. Let your shoulders drop. This is where pressure leaves and clarity enters. You have been told, directly or indirectly, that focus is something you must force. That if you just wanted it badly enough, tried harder, pushed more, stayed stronger, it would appear. That belief created quiet tension inside you, because when focus slipped, you assumed effort was missing. That belief is incomplete. Focus is not willpower. Focus is design. Feel the relief in hearing that. You do not need to fight yourself. You do not need to exhaust your energy trying to overpower distraction. You need to understand how focus actually works. Willpower is temporary. It rises and falls with emotion, fatigue, and pressure. Some days it feels strong. Other days it disappears. If focus depended on willpower alone, it would always be fragile. But focus is not fragile. It is responsive. Notice this truth gently. Your mind follows structure. It flows where it is guided. Like a river guided by its banks, attention moves naturally when boundaries are clear. Without banks, the water spreads thin, loses force, disappears into the ground. With direction, it becomes powerful. You do not command a river to flow. You shape the path. This is where control truly lives. The myth of motivation tells you to wait until you feel ready, until you feel inspired, until you feel strong enough to begin. But motivation is a visitor. It comes and goes. Design stays. Notice how freeing that feels. You do not need to feel focused to focus. You need to remove what breaks focus and protect what supports it. That is leadership. Quiet, intentional, effective. Remove the noise. Noise is not only sound. It is anything that competes for your attention without serving your direction. Too many inputs, too many open loops, too many unfinished pulls. Each one takes a small piece of your mental energy. Your mind was never meant to hold everything at once. It was meant to move forward with clarity. Remove the noise. This is not withdrawal. It is selection. You are not shrinking your world. You are refining it. Protect your mind. Your mind is not a battlefield. It is a command center. What enters it shapes how you think, how you decide, how you lead. Protection is not restriction. It is respect. Feel the shift now. Less force, more intelligence. Focus becomes easier when the environment supports it. When the space around you reflects the direction you want to move. When distractions are not fought, but designed out. This is the fix you are waiting for. Not pressure, not self-criticism. Design. Feel the relief fully. This is solvable. This is manageable. This is within your control. Fire is powerful, but without containment it burns everything and exhausts itself. Contained, it becomes heat, light, energy. Focus is the same. Your energy has always been strong. It simply needed structure. You are not lacking intensity. You are learning direction. Protect your mind. Every boundary you set frees energy. Every decision to simplify creates space. Every moment you design instead of react restores authority. Notice how calm enters when chaos leaves. That calm is not weakness. It is readiness. Remove the noise. This command is not about perfection. It is about intention. You will not remove everything. You remove what matters most. One distraction at a time. One unnecessary pull at a time. Each small change compound. Focus does not arrive all at once. It returns gradually, quietly, naturally. Trust that process. The mind relaxes when it knows what matters. It settles when it knows where to go. It commits when it feels safe from constant interruption. Protect your mind. This is how leaders think. Not by forcing themselves to endure chaos, but by designing clarity. Not by chasing motivation, but by building systems that make focus the default. Notice the empowerment here. You are no longer waiting to feel ready. You are shaping readiness. You are no longer hoping focus appears. You are creating the conditions for it. This is the turning point. Say it slowly inside. Remove the noise. Protect your mind. Feel how those words carry authority, not aggression. Calm command, steady leadership. Your environment will either drain you or support you. Your focus will either scatter or settle. The difference is design. And now you see it. You are not broken. You are misinformed. With each adjustment you make, focus becomes easier to access. With each boundary you place, attention grows stronger. With each intentional choice, your confidence rises. This is not a temporary fix. This is a new way of operating. And as your environment begins to support you, something else shifts. Your sense of identity strengthens. You start to trust yourself again. You see progress. You feel momentum. Focus stops feeling heavy. It starts feeling natural. This chapter is giving you relief, but it is also preparing you. Because design creates space, and space invites a deeper question. If focus is designed, not forced, then who are you becoming as you design your life more deliberately? That answer is forming now, quietly, powerfully, and it will demand more of you next. Chapter 4: Identity, the real source of focus. Settle into this moment. This is where everything deepens. Focus does not begin with what you do. It begins with who you believe you are. You act in alignment with your identity, whether you realize it or not. Every habit, every decision, every moment of consistency or hesitation flows from the story you carry about yourself. Not the story you tell others, but the one you repeat quietly inside. Listen closely now. Focused people don't try to focus. They are focused. That truth carries weight. It removes struggle. It removes force. It replaces effort with alignment. For a long time, you may have seen focus as something outside of you, something you reach for, something you attempt and sometimes fail to hold. That creates tension, because chasing something you believe you are not creates resistance. This chapter dissolves that resistance. There is an old version of you that learned to identify with distraction, not proudly, not intentionally, subtly, through repetition, through moments where focus slipped and the mind quietly labeled itself unfocused, scattered, inconsistent. That identity was never chosen. It was absorbed, and identities that are absorbed can be rewritten. Feel the pressure building now, not fear, expectation. Because the moment you understand this, you can no longer pretend it does not matter. The old self reacts. The emerging self decides. The old self waits for motivation. The emerging self moves from identity. The old self asks, "Can I focus today?" The emerging self states, "This is how I operate." Notice the difference in energy. One is uncertain. The other is grounded. Focused people don't try to focus. They are focused. This is not arrogance. It is clarity. Identity is the quiet command center of your behavior. When you see yourself as disciplined, your actions naturally align. When you see yourself as someone who finishes, completion follows. When you see yourself as steady, steadiness becomes normal. Say it now. I am becoming disciplined. Let those words settle, not as a wish, as a direction. Identity does not change in a single declaration. It shifts through evidence, through small, repeated actions that confirm who you are becoming. Each moment of follow-through becomes proof. Each moment of awareness reinforces the new self. This is where emotional pressure rises, because you are standing between two identities. One is familiar, comfortable in its patterns, predictable. It knows distraction well. It knows excuses gently. It knows delay without drama. The other is forming now. Quieter, stronger, less reactive, more intentional. It does not announce itself loudly. It shows up consistently. And both cannot lead at the same time. Feel that tension. That is growth. The emerging self does not fight the old one. It outgrows it through choice, through repetition, through calm authority. You are no longer asking if you can focus. You are deciding who you are. I rise. Say it again inside. I rise. Notice how that feels. Upright, clear, energized without chaos. Identity is not motivation. It does not depend on mood. It holds when emotions fluctuate. That is why it is powerful. That is why it lasts. When focus is part of who you are, you do not negotiate with distraction. You recognize it, then move forward anyway. Not with anger, with confidence. Focused people don't try to focus. They are focused. This belief changes how effort feels. It removes internal debate. It shortens the distance between intention and action. You no longer ask, should I? You state, this is what I do. Pressure builds here because identity demands consistency. It asks you to live up to what you claim. That pressure is not a burden. It is alignment. You feel it now. A subtle expectation rising. A sense that something is being asked of you. That is leadership calling inward. You are becoming someone who follows through. Someone who notices distraction without becoming it. Someone who values depth over noise. I am becoming disciplined. Discipline is no longer punishment. It is self-respect. It is proof that you trust yourself, and trust changes everything. Notice how this identity shift calms you. When you know who you are, decisions become easier. Focus becomes simpler. You stop fighting yourself. The emerging self does not need permission. It needs practice. Each time you choose focus, you reinforce identity. Each time you see instead of react, you strengthen it. Each time you finish what you start, you confirm it. Identity solidifies through action. I rise. This is not about perfection. It is about direction. You will not be focused every moment, but you will return faster, stronger, with less drama, because this is who you are becoming. And once identity shifts, momentum follows. You are not trying to change your habits anymore. You are expressing who you are. This chapter marks a crossing point. After this, distraction will feel less personal. Focus will feel less forced. You will begin to move differently. Stand in that awareness now. You are not the old version anymore. You are not fully the new one yet. But you are rising. And the next chapter will ask you to prove it. Chapter 5, The Fast Reset. How to reclaim focus now. This is where momentum turns into action. Not tomorrow, not later. Now, focus can be restored immediately when clarity returns. Not slowly, not painfully, immediately, because focus was never gone. It was waiting for a signal to come back online. Stand up, feel your body shift, even if only in your mind. Upright changes chemistry, upright changes intention. Upright sends a message that something is happening now. Breathe, one slow breath, then another, not to calm down but to arrive. Breath anchors attention. It pulls you out of noise and into the present moment. Right here is where focus lives, not in the past, not in the future. Decide. Decision is the reset switch. Most people believe focus returns when conditions improve. That is not true. Focus returns when you choose to lead again. When you stop waiting for the mind to feel ready and tell it where to go. Feel the relief in that. This is simple. This is usable. This works. The fast reset is not complicated. It is clear. Clarity cuts through confusion instantly. When you know what matters next, attention follows. One thing, one direction, one commitment. The mind relaxes when it knows the target. Distraction thrives in vagueness. Focus thrives in precision. Stand up. Breathe. Decide. You do not need hours. You need intention. You do not need perfect conditions. You need leadership. Notice how belief starts to rebuild when you act. Not after success. During action. Short-term wins restore confidence faster than any speech or promise. Choose one task, not 10. One, something achievable, something meaningful, something that moves you forward even slightly. This is how belief is rebuilt, through proof. You are not trying to become focused forever. You are reclaiming focus now. Feel the difference. The mind stops spinning when it has something to do. Energy stops leaking when it has a container. Like fire contained becomes power, attention contained becomes progress. This reset works because it bypasses doubt. It does not ask how you feel. It asks who is in charge. Decide. That word carries authority. When you decide, excuses fall quiet. When you decide, hesitation loses ground. When you decide, the mind aligns. Relief comes from simplicity. You are not fixing your whole life in this moment. You are fixing this moment, and that is enough, because moments stack, moments compound, moments become identity. Stand up, breathe, decide, feel empowerment replacing overwhelm. Feel clarity replacing noise. Feel confidence returning, not as a rush but as a steadiness. This is repeatable. Anytime focus drifts, you return here, to posture, to breath, to decision. You are training your mind to respond to command again. Stay with this. Do not rush past the feeling of control returning. That feeling matters. That feeling rewires belief. Keep going. Each second you stay present strengthens the circuit. Each moment you resist distraction builds capacity. Each choice you complete reinforces trust in yourself. This matters because focus is not built in dramatic moments. It is built in these small, deliberate resets, again and again. Notice how the urge to escape weakens when you stay. Notice how discomfort fades when you do not run. Notice how strength appears when you remain. Stay with this. Keep going. This matters. You are proving something to yourself now. Not that you are perfect, that you are capable, that you can return, that you can lead. Decide. Decision ends the internal debate. It replaces question marks with direction. The fast reset is not about speed. It is about authority. You are reclaiming authorship over your attention. Feel how empowering that is. No force, no struggle, just clarity. Stand up, breathe, decide. This is how momentum begins. Not with intensity, but with alignment. When action matches intention, energy flows. You are not chasing focus anymore. You are commanding it. Relief settles in because you are no longer lost. You know what to do next. And knowing what to do next is one of the most powerful feelings a human mind can experience. Stay with this. Let the calm deepen. Let the confidence stabilize. Let the sense of direction lock in. This reset is small, but it is decisive. And decisive moments change trajectory. You feel it now. Something has shifted, not loudly, firmly. And this is only the beginning. Because once you know how to reclaim focus quickly, you are ready for something greater. Ready to build it. Ready to sustain it. Ready to protect it. Keep going. The next chapter will take this moment and turn it into a way of life. Chapter 6. Discipline without suffering. Settle your breath. Let the tension ease out of your body. This chapter changes how you relate to discipline forever. Discipline is not punishment. It never was. Somewhere along the way, discipline was framed as suffering, as denial, as force, as something heavy you must endure to become better. That idea made discipline feel sharp, rigid, unforgiving. It turned growth into resistance. That idea ends here. Discipline is self-respect. Feel how different that lands. Softer, stronger, sustainable. When you respect yourself, you show up. When you respect yourself, you follow through. Not because you are afraid of failing, but because you value who you are becoming. Discipline is not about being hard on yourself. It is about being honest with yourself. Notice how guilt and shame dissolve when discipline is reframed. Guilt says you are wrong. Shame says you are flawed. Discipline says you are capable. There is no punishment in capability. There is power. You are not forcing yourself forward. You are guiding yourself forward like training a muscle. You do not punish a muscle into strength. You train it, repeatedly, patiently, with intention. Some days the muscle feels strong. Some days it feels tired. Both days count. Consistency is not intensity. It is rhythm. Feel the relief in that truth. You do not need extreme effort. You need steady effort. You do not need perfection. You need repetition. Discipline becomes lighter when it becomes familiar. Think of it like planting daily seeds. You do not dig up the soil every day to check if it worked. You plant, you water, you wait. Growth happens quietly beneath the surface long before you see results. This is how discipline works when it is aligned. Remove guilt. Remove shame. Those emotions never built anything lasting. They only created cycles of push and collapse. Discipline built on punishment burns out. Discipline built on respect endures. Say it now. I choose strength. Strength is not force. Strength is consistency. Strength is returning again and again without drama. You are not behind because you struggled. You are training. You are learning the rhythm that fits your life, your energy, your direction. Discipline without suffering means you stop making growth harder than it needs to be. You stop demanding from yourself what you would never demand from someone you care about. And you start leading yourself the way a strong leader would. Firm, fair, patient. I am consistent. Say it slowly. I am consistent. Consistency does not mean never missing a day. It means never quitting the process. It means returning without self-attack. It means continuing without needing punishment as motivation. Notice how discipline strengthens when pressure is replaced with clarity. You know what matters. You know why it matters. You act accordingly. No guilt, no shame, just direction. Discipline becomes a quiet agreement with yourself, a promise that does not need applause, a standard that does not need explanation. Training a muscle takes time. Some days you lift more, some days you lift less, but you keep showing up. That is where strength is built. Planting daily seeds requires patience. Some days you see nothing. Still you water, still you trust, still you show up. This is discipline that lasts. Feel how sustainable this feels. No rush, no force, just forward motion. You are not trying to become someone else. You are strengthening who you already are. Each small act of discipline reinforces self-trust. Each follow-through confirms identity. I am consistent. I choose strength. Discipline without suffering means you stop fighting yourself and start working with yourself. You respect your limits while expanding them. You challenge yourself without tearing yourself down. This changes everything, because when discipline is grounded in self-respect, you no longer fear it. You welcome it. It becomes stability in an unstable world. It becomes structure you can rely on. Notice how calm replaces resistance. Notice how confidence replaces pressure. Notice how momentum builds quietly. This is how leaders live. Not by exhausting themselves, but by sustaining themselves. Not by dramatic effort, but by disciplined rhythm. You are learning to trust yourself again. That trust is earned, not through punishment, through consistency. I am consistent. Let that become your anchor. As discipline becomes lighter, it also becomes stronger. As suffering leaves, capacity grows. As respect deepens, follow-through becomes natural. You are not forcing progress. Neither. You are allowing it. And as this rhythm settles into your life, something important begins to happen. Discipline stops feeling like an action. It starts feeling like an identity. You no longer ask if you should show up. You do. You no longer negotiate with delay. You move. This is not loud. This is solid. And this solid foundation is preparing you for the next shift. Because discipline without suffering creates space. And in that space, a deeper strength is ready to emerge. You are steady now, and what comes next will require that steadiness. Chapter 7. Silence, Secrecy, and Power. Slow your pace. Lower your voice inside. This chapter is quieter for a reason. Power does not always announce itself. Real strength often grows in silence. Quiet focus multiplies strength because it removes leakage. When you speak less, explain less, announce less, your energy stays with you. It stops dispersing. It begins to concentrate. Work quietly. This is not about hiding. It is about building without interruption. Every time you share plans too early, part of the energy meant for execution is spent on explanation. Every time you seek validation before completion, focus fractures. Silence protects momentum. Inner leadership does not require witnesses. It requires alignment. When your actions match your values, noise becomes unnecessary. You no longer need to prove. You move. Let results speak. Notice how calm enters when you stop narrating your progress. There is relief in privacy. There is clarity in keeping your work sacred while it forms. Silence sharpens attention. When fewer voices enter your process, your own voice grows stronger. Decisions become clearer. Direction stabilizes. Emotional calm settles in because you are no longer reacting to feedback, opinions, or expectations before your work is ready. Work quietly. This command carries maturity. It signals that you trust yourself enough to continue without applause. You are no longer fueled by reaction. You are fueled by purpose. Less sharing, more building. Feel how grounded that feels. There is power in secrecy, not because others do not matter, but because your focus does. Secrecy allows ideas to mature. It gives discipline space to root. It lets identity solidify without interference. When you work quietly, pressure decreases, comparison fades, urgency becomes internal, not imposed. You move at the pace of alignment. Let results speak. Results are undeniable. They do not argue. They do not explain. They simply exist. And when they arrive, they carry more weight because they were built, not announced. Quiet focus multiplies strength because it keeps you centered. Emotional calm grows when attention is no longer scattered across approval, response, and explanation. Notice the stillness forming inside you now. That stillness is not passivity, it is readiness. Silence creates space. In that space, you hear yourself more clearly. You notice distraction sooner. You correct course faster. Work quietly. This is where leadership deepens. You begin to lead yourself without external pressure. You act because it is right, not because it will be seen. There is confidence in that. Let results speak. Say it internally. Feel its weight. You are no longer chasing recognition. You are building capability. That shift changes everything. Quiet focus requires restraint. Restraint builds strength. Strength creates impact. No distraction. No delay. You move now. Feel that surge. That is focused power, not frantic, not scattered, directed. No distraction. You recognize the pull and refuse it. Calmly, firmly. No delay. You act when intention appears. You do not negotiate with hesitation. You move now. Movement does not mean rushing. It means alignment between decision and action. Stay in this cadence. Work quietly. Let results speak. Silence is no longer empty. It is full of intention. Secrecy is no longer avoidance. It is protection. Power is no longer loud. It is consistent. Notice how steady you feel. This chapter is teaching you restraint, not limitation. Focus, not withdrawal. Leadership, not isolation. You are conserving energy for what matters. Quiet focus multiplies strength because nothing is wasted. And as you continue forward like this, calm, deliberate, unseen, something begins to build beneath the surface. Something solid. Something undeniable. When it emerges, it will not need explanation. It will speak for itself. Chapter 8. Focus under pressure. Slow your breathing. Steady your body. This is where focus is tested. True focus shows up when it's hard, not when conditions are calm, not when time is generous, not when everything feels aligned. Pressure is the moment of truth. Pressure reveals who you are becoming. Feel that sentence. Let it settle. Pressure does not create weakness. It exposes patterns. Under stress, the mind returns to what it knows best: reaction or leadership, panic or presence, escape or engagement. And now you are training for this moment. Pressure compresses time. It narrows options. It intensifies emotion. Thoughts speed up. The body tightens. The urge to scatter grows louder. This is where focus either collapses or crystallizes. You do not fold. Say it internally. You do not fold. Focus under pressure is not about controlling chaos. It is about controlling attention. Chaos can exist around you without existing inside you. Staying present in chaos is a skill, and like every skill, it strengthens through use. When pressure rises, the instinct is to rush, to multitask, to solve everything at once. That instinct fractures attention. It feels productive, but it drains power. Pause instead. Presence under pressure begins with grounding. One breath, one moment, one decision. The world may be loud, but your mind does not have to be. Pressure reveals who you are becoming. If you scatter, you reinforce old patterns. If you stay, you build a new one. Staying does not mean freeze. It means choosing deliberately. You slow the internal pace even as external demands accelerate. That is leadership. You do not fold. Leaders are not calm because pressure disappears. They are calm because they have learned to hold focus when pressure arrives. Notice how different this is from forcing calm. You are not suppressing emotion. You are directing attention. Emotion can exist without control being lost. Handling stress begins with clarity. What matters now? Not everything, not later, now. One priority, one action, one step forward. Pressure loses its grip when direction is clear. You feel overload when too many demands compete at once. Focus returns when one demand is selected. This is not avoidance. It is sequencing. Presence is choosing order inside disorder. You do not fold. Say it again. You do not fold. Feel the strength in that declaration. It is not aggression. It is resolve. Leadership under pressure is quiet. It does not rush to prove. It moves with intention. It accepts that pressure is part of the process, not a signal to retreat. Pressure reveals who you are becoming. Are you someone who disappears when it's hard, or someone who sharpens? This question is not asked to judge you. It is asked to awaken you. Focus under pressure is where trust in yourself is earned. When you stay present despite discomfort, confidence grows. When you choose clarity despite chaos, authority returns. Stress narrows vision when you let it. Focus expands it when you lead. Notice how grounding yourself changes the experience. Pressure no longer feels like an enemy. It feels like resistance that strengthens. You do not fold. Pressure is weight. Weight builds muscle when lifted correctly. Do not rush the lift. Do not drop the weight. Hold steady. Your mind learns quickly. Each time you remain present under stress, it remembers. Each time you lead instead of react, it adapts. Over time, what once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. This is how resilience is built. Not by avoiding pressure, but by meeting it with focus. Pressure reveals who you are becoming. Let that line repeat in you. You are becoming someone who does not collapse under load. Someone who steadies when others scatter. Someone who holds the center. Staying present in chaos requires trust. Trust that you can handle what is in front of you. Trust that you do not need to solve everything now. One thing at a time is not limitation. It is mastery. You do not fold. When pressure rises, return to basics. Breath, posture, attention, decision. These anchors do not fail under stress. They simplify the moment. Simplicity is power under pressure. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be present. Presence outperforms panic every time. Leadership under pressure is not loud. It is felt. Others sense it. Situations respond to it. Even your own mind relaxes when it knows you are in control. Pressure becomes a signal, not to flee, to focus. You do not fold. This chapter is strengthening your spine, internally, mentally, emotionally, because pressure will return, again and again, and each time it does, you will meet it differently. Calmer, clearer, stronger. Pressure reveals who you are becoming, and you are becoming someone who stands. The next chapter will take this strength and show you how to build it into your life. So focus is not only present in moments of pressure, but sustained across days, weeks, and years. Stay steady. You are ready for that. Chapter 9, Building a Focused Life, not just a day. Slow down your thinking. Lift your perspective. This chapter is about permanence. Anyone can focus for a moment. Anyone can summon effort for a day. But leaders do not live moment to moment. They build structures that carry them forward when motivation fades. Systems create freedom. Feel the calm in that truth. Freedom is not found in endless choice. It is found in clarity, in routines that remove friction, in systems that support who you are becoming without requiring constant effort. You are no longer here to manage chaos. You are here to design stability. A focused life is not built through heroic bursts. It is built through quiet, repeatable habits that align with identity. Habits that do not ask who you feel like being today, but reinforce who you already are. Focus becomes your default when it is embedded into your environment, your schedule, your expectations of yourself. Notice the shift. This is no longer about trying. This is about structuring. Long-term focus grows when decisions are made once and followed consistently. When you remove daily negotiation. You reduce mental clutter by deciding in advance what matters. This is how systems work. They conserve energy. They protect attention. They free you to think deeply instead of constantly deciding what to do next. Systems create freedom. Identity-based routines are the backbone of this life. You do not ask if you will show up. You show up because this is who you are. You do not debate whether to protect your focus. You protect it because it aligns with your standard. Routine is not restriction. Routine is reliability. It gives your mind something solid to stand on. It reduces stress. It increases confidence. It builds trust with yourself. Imagine waking up knowing exactly how you will begin. No hesitation. No distraction. Just alignment. That alone changes the quality of your days. Imagine knowing when you will work deeply, when you will rest, when you will reset. Focus stops feeling fragile because it is supported. Imagine who you become when focus is your default. Hold that image. See yourself moving through days with less noise. Decisions feel lighter. Progress feels steady. You finish what you start. You trust yourself. That future is not distant. It is constructed through systems. Systems do not demand intensity. They demand consistency. And consistency compounds faster than motivation ever could. Notice how this removes pressure. You are no longer responsible for forcing focus every day. Your systems do the heavy lifting. Your role is to follow through. You're ready. Say it inside. You're ready. Building a focused life means thinking long-term. It means choosing habits that you can sustain, not ones that impress. It means designing routines that fit your energy, not fight it. Small habits done daily reshape identity. Over time, focus stops being an effort and starts being an expression. You're steady. Feel that word settle. Steadiness is underrated power. It outperforms brilliance without consistency. It wins quietly. Future pacing matters because the mind moves toward what it can see. When you visualize a focused life, your decisions align more naturally. You choose differently because you are building toward something clear. Imagine who you become when focus is your default. You become reliable. You become calm under pressure. You become someone others trust. You lead. Say it now. You lead. Leadership begins with self-leadership, with managing attention, with protecting focus, with designing days that support purpose instead of draining it. A focused life is not rigid. It is responsive. Systems provide structure, not confinement. They allow you to adapt without losing direction. When unexpected demands arise, you do not collapse. Your foundation holds. When motivation dips, your routines carry you. When pressure increases, your habits stabilize you. This is freedom. Systems create freedom because they remove chaos from decision-making. They allow your best energy to be spent on what matters most. Notice how confidence grows when you trust your system. You stop second-guessing. You stop restarting. You move forward. You're ready. You're steady. You lead. Let the repetition build. You're ready. You're steady. You lead. This is the transformation peak because it marks a shift from effort to embodiment. You are no longer practicing focus. You are living it. Your days begin to reflect your values. Your time aligns with your priorities. Your mind becomes a place of clarity instead of clutter. Imagine who you become when focus is your default. This is not fantasy. It is the natural result of systems built with intention. You have learned awareness. You have learned restraint. You have learned discipline. Now you are learning sustainability. A focused life is built quietly. One routine, one boundary, one decision repeated. And as this life takes shape, something changes at a deeper level. You stop proving. You stop chasing. You start trusting. You trust your process. You trust your systems. You trust yourself. That trust is power. You are no longer managing days. You are shaping years. And the next chapter will take this long-term stability and push it to its final edge. It will challenge you to step fully into ownership of your focus, your direction, your identity. Stay with this feeling. You're ready. You're steady. You lead. And what comes next will confirm it. Chapter 10. You are no longer the same. Take a moment and feel where you are now, not where you started. Here, the shift has already begun. It did not arrive loudly. It did not announce itself. It unfolded quietly through awareness, through restraint, through choice. And now something inside you has changed. Subtly, permanently. You are no longer the same. The old identity has loosened its grip. Not through force, not through rejection, but through irrelevance. It no longer fits. The habits that once felt automatic now feel optional. The distractions that once controlled you now reveal themselves sooner. This is not coincidence. This is transformation. Transformation does not happen in one dramatic moment. It happens through accumulation, through repeated decisions that slowly rewrite who you believe you are. And belief shapes behavior. Look back without judgment. The old version of you reacted first and decided later. It waited for the right mood. It negotiated with distraction. It scattered energy without realizing it was doing so. That version served its purpose. It brought you here, but it does not lead anymore. You have seen too much. You have felt the difference. You have experienced clarity, discipline, stillness, and strength. Once felt, these cannot be unfelt. The old loop is closing. There is power in closure. It frees attention. It releases weight. It allows you to move forward without dragging old narratives behind you. You are no longer trying to focus. You are focused. Say it now. I am focused. Feel how solid that sounds, not forced, not hopeful, grounded. Focus is no longer something you chase. It is something you return to, again and again, with less effort, with more confidence. You decide. Say it slowly. I decide. Decision has replaced hesitation. Not because doubt vanished, but because leadership emerged. You no longer wait for certainty. You move with intention. This is empowerment. Empowerment is not excitement. It is stability. It is knowing that when distraction appears, you have the tools to respond. When pressure rises, you have the presence to stay. When clarity fades, you know how to reset. You are no longer the same because your relationship with yourself has changed. You trust yourself more now. You follow through more often. You speak less and do more. You build quietly. You protect what matters. These are not temporary behavior. They are expressions of identity. The old identity loop said, maybe tomorrow. The new identity states, now is handled. You no longer abandon yourself when things get uncomfortable. You stay. You breathe. You decide. That alone changes everything. I am focused. I decide. Let those affirmations anchor you. Notice how calm you feel reading them. That calm is earned. It comes from alignment, from doing what you said you would do, from building internal consistency. Consistency creates confidence. Confidence creates momentum, and momentum carries you forward. This chapter is not an ending. It is a confirmation, a recognition that the work you have done internally is real, that the shifts you feel are not imagined, that the direction you are moving in is solid. You are no longer the same because your standards have changed. You notice sooner. You recover faster. You lead yourself with clarity. Distraction still exists. Pressure still arrives, but they no longer define you. They refine you. This is the mark of growth. The old identity required constant effort to maintain. The new one requires presence. And presence is sustainable. You have closed a chapter without erasing it. You carry the lessons forward without carrying the weight. This is maturity. I am focused. I decide. Say it again, not to convince yourself, but to acknowledge what is already true. The shift has already begun because you chose to engage. You chose awareness. You chose restraint. You chose discipline without suffering. You chose silence. You chose system. You chose leadership. Choice after choice built momentum. Now the future opens differently. You do not approach it from scattered attention. You approach it from centered strength. You do not rush to prove yourself. You move with quiet confidence. Others may not see the shift immediately. That does not matter. You feel it. And what you feel determines how you act. You are no longer the same. This identity will continue to solidify with every decision you make, with every moment you protect focus, with every time you choose presence over impulse. The work does not end here, it deepens. And as you move forward, something important becomes clear. Focus is no longer a skill you practice. It is a value you live. You decide. And because you decide, your life begins to reflect that authority. This is not a finish line. It is a foundation. Stand in it. You are ready for what comes next. Final conclusion. This is the moment you stop looking back. You have walked through awareness, discipline, silence, pressure, and design, and you did not turn away. Each chapter asked something of you, and each time you stayed. Not perfectly, honestly. You learned that focus was never missing. It was waiting. You learned that discipline was never punishment. It was respect. You learned that silence was never weakness. It was power. Now feel what remains. Calm strength, quiet confidence, direction. This journey was not about becoming someone else. It was about uncovering who you already are. Strip away distraction and clarity stands. Remove noise and leadership rises. You are capable, not because you feel inspired, but because you are aligned. Aligned with intention, aligned with identity. Ned with action. There will be days that test this. Moments that pull at your attention. Situations that demand speed instead of depth. And still you return, because you know how now. You know what matters. You know who you are. This is where belief becomes lived experience. Not hope, not motivation, reliability. You have proven something to yourself. You can stay present. You can decide. You can lead. This is who you are now. You protect your focus because you value your life. You design your days because your time matters. You act with discipline because you respect yourself. You no longer wait to be ready. You move when it matters. You pause when clarity is needed. You decide. You lead yourself. This is your call to action. Not loud, not rushed. Clear. Choose what deserves your attention. Release what drains it. Return to presence again and again. There will be pressure. There will be noise. And still you stand, because focus is no longer something you chase. It is something you live. Say it now. I am ready. I rise. I decide who I become. Let these words anchor you when doubt appears. Let them guide you when choices stack up. Let them steady you when the world accelerates. You are not finished. You are established. Each day forward is an expression of what you have built here. Each decision reinforces the identity you chose. Each moment of focus strengthens your future. Stand in that truth. This is who you are now. You protect your focus. You lead yourself. Choose greatness. You made it to the end. That already says something about you. Most people stop early. You stayed. If this audiobook challenged you, if it sharpened your focus, if it reminded you of who you're becoming, then don't let this be a one-time moment. This channel exists for people who choose growth, discipline over comfort, clarity over noise, progress over excuses. If you want more audiobooks like this, more mindset training, more leadership, more inner strength, subscribe, like this video so it reaches the people who need it, and share it with someone who's ready to rise but hasn't found the words yet. Stay consistent, protect your mind, and keep moving forward. This is only the beginning.